Hey everyone, Coach Allen here with Crow River Sport and Fitness. One of the biggest mistakes I see in youth sports today is athletes are thinking about training in seasons. We train here in the gym in the off season, but once the sport season begins, then it's over. We wait, take the time off, and then start again next year. The problem is athlete development doesn't happen like that. Let me show you what actually happens. All right, so if an athlete trains in the off season, performance improves, strength goes up, speed improves, power increases. But when the sport season begins, many athletes stop training completely. And then when the training stops, performance starts to decline. Power drops, speed declines, strength also slowly decreases. Now, the next off season arrives. But instead of building on the previous year, a big part of the off season is just getting back to where you were the year before. So development becomes train, stop, lose, rebuild. That's a slow way to improve. All right, let's take a look at that on a graph so we can visually see what happens. In the off season, we start to train. Our power goes up, our speed goes up, and our strength goes up. But now the next season starts, we stop hitting the gym, we stop training, and we slowly start to lose that speed that we developed, the strength, and the power output. Okay, now our season ends, next off season begins. Now we got to start down here. We've lost from our peak of the last off season. So we have to spend a good chunk of the next off season just to build back to where we were. And then we get to make a little bit of improvement over the next year. Season starts, we stop training and we start to decline. And then we take the next off season and we start taking time to build back. And then we gain a little bit. So it becomes build, stop, lose, rebuild. We're not as far along as if we were to train year round. Okay, so let's talk about year round training. It's a different approach. In the off season, we increase. We're increasing our strength, we're increasing our power, we're increasing our speed. But when the season starts now, we're not gonna stop training. We just adjust it. Less volume, more recovery. The goal in season is maintenance. Then when the next off season arrives, now we build on the previous year instead of starting over. So now our development becomes increase, maintain, increase. And that's how athletes improve year over year. Let's take a look at that. Now we're over here, we increase. The season starts, we maintain. The next off season starts, we increase. The next season starts, we maintain. The next off season, and we build. So we could see in the second example how we are so much farther ahead of the athlete that decided to take off in season as opposed to working on maintenance and maintaining all the gains they made in the previous off season. I've heard it from many athletes. It seems like I've lost my jump. It seems like I've lost my bounce. I've lost my explosive when they get in the grind of the season. It's because they're not working on those attributes to maintain those. All right, so let's talk about what happens when an athlete stops training completely. The first thing they usually lose is power. Explosive abilities like jumping, sprinting, and change of direction. Those qualities heavily rely on the nervous system, which declines quickly without training. After that, athletes start to lose speed, movement coordination, and strength. And they also lose something that's really important: injury resilience. The tissues that protect the joints and absorb force become less prepared for the demands of the sport. That's one of the reasons why injuries often happen when athletes return after a long break. All right, so in closing, athletes who make the biggest improvements aren't the ones who train for one season. They're the ones who consistently train year after year. One of the things we see all the time is when an athlete signs up in the off season, they really overestimate what they can accomplish in 3 months. They expect huge gains in strength, speed, and performance right away. But real development usually happens much slower than that. What most people don't realize is the opposite is usually true. Athletes, they tend to underestimate what can happen over 3 years worth of consistent training. 3 months, it might move the needle a little bit, but 3 years can completely change the type an athlete someone becomes. More strength, more power, better movement, greater durability. Isn't that the kind of athlete you want to become? Great athletes aren't built in a single season. They are built over years. Hey, I'm Coach Allen with Coral River Sport and Fitness. Thanks for joining me today. If you like this kind of content, please click like and subscribe and look for more content just like this in the future.